I'm going to show you guys a different way to do long division. I just learned this way and I really like it. It's very mathy. Okay, so I'm going to do 4.8 divided by 28.24. And we still put the first number in the box. The problem's going to look kind of like a regular long division problem, but we'll be doing it a different way. So first number in the box, even if it's smaller, which in this case it is, 28.24. And before I get started, I'm going to estimate my answer. So how many times does 28 fit into 4 or 5? And not even once. So I know my answer is going to be less than 1. So I know I'm going to have a decimal. And I know that even half of 28 doesn't fit into 4. And even half of 28 doesn't fit into 4. So I'm looking at less than a quarter, so I'm going to say 0.2 is going to be my estimate. Alright, so let's get started. So, get my red pen out again. So, we're going to move the decimal like we do normally. Moving the decimal is really just a way to make it less confusing because you can just pretend like they're whole numbers. So, move the decimal over the same number of times you move it in the dividend. Sorry, this is the divisor. Move the decimal in the divisor, move it in the dividend the same number of spaces. So since there's no number right here, then you have to fill it in with a 0. And put your decimal up here. And now I always ask that you round to the nearest 100, which means you need to go 3 numbers past the decimal. So since I know I have to go 3 past the decimal, I'm just going to put 3 more zeros. I'm just going to add them all right now. I'm going to make a line all the way down here. This method is called hangman style, probably because it looks like hangman game. So, sorry, I'm tired. So now I have 2,824 into 480,000. So big number into a bigger number. So with this method, we're going to multiply this number by easy numbers to multiply by, like 110, to try and figure out how many of them fit into here. So I'm going to start with 100 because I know this will fit into that at least 100 times. Because 100 is really easy to multiply by. You just multiply by the number by 1 and then you put the 2 zeros at the end. So 2,000, oh wait, that's not going to go there anymore. Erase that guy real quick. I'll just write 2824, and then I'm going to put my 2 zeros. There. Okay. So we're still going to subtract because I'm basically trying to figure out what's left over. I know it goes in at least 100 times, but I'm going to see how many more times it goes in. So I'm going to subtract, find out how much is left. Lovely regrouping. You can use the regular method for regrouping, or you can use the other method that I have in with the other video, the using the expanded form. If that's easier, this becomes a 3, and I have to borrow for that, so I'll just take from this guy first, make that a 10, turn that into a 9, and then make that a 10, and the other ones are fine. So since I turned this into a 3, I'll make this a 17. Okay, 0, 0, 10 minus 4 is 6, 9 minus 2 is 7, 17 minus 8 is 9, and 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so now I have 197,600. So I know that it's not going to fit in it's not going to fit in 100 times. So I still want to multiply by an easy number, so I'm just going to multiply by 10. So 10 is just going to be 2824, and then stick that 0 on there. Okay, so now I've got minus 28,204. Gotta make sure that you're always lining up with the right place value, otherwise the subtraction answer comes out all wonky. And it won't make sense. So I have to take from this guy, so I can make this guy bigger, so this will become an 8, this will become a 17. I don't need to give to this guy, but I do need to give to this guy. So I'll take from the 6 and make that into a 10. So I don't need to take from the 17. 0, 6, 5 minus 2 is 3, 17 minus 8 is 9, and then 8 minus 2 is 6, and then a 1. Oi. So I still have a really big number. I think if I keep multiplying by 10, it's going to take a really long time and have to do a whole bunch of tens and subtractions. So I'm going to try to multiply by 50, because 5 is also pretty easy to multiply by, because I can just count by 5s. So I'm going to try that. So I'm really multiplying by 50, but I'll write down the 50 so we don't forget. But I'm just going to multiply it by 5, and then add the 0 at the end. Okay, so because if you had that 0 here, it would just be, okay, 0 times 4, 0 times 2, 0 times 8, 0 times 2, and then you put 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and it doesn't need, you don't need to go through all that. Just add the 0 at the end. So 5 times 4, 20, carry the 2, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12, carry the 1 over there, 5 times 8 is 40, plus 1 is 41, 4 up there, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is, yay! Okay, so, oh, and then make sure to put the 0. So that's nice, because that number is much closer to that number, but it's still smaller. So I can use that. 141,200. Okay, so 0, 6 minus 0, 6, 3 minus 2 is 1. Ooh, no regrouping! Hurrah! Okay. Okay, so now, if I ignore this 0, this number right here is smaller than that, so I know I'm not going to be able to multiply by 10, so it's not going to be any more than 10, so, but this number is also not that much less than this one. So I think probably it's going to go in 9 more times. So I'm just going to multiply it by 9, even though 9 isn't the friendliest number to multiply by. We can always use our 9s trick, because it's awesome. Okay, so 9 times 4 is 36. Carry the 3 up here. 9 times 2 is 18, 19, 20, 21. And then 9 times 8 is 72, plus 2 is 74. And then 9 times 2 is 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay. Cool. Alright. So, I'm going to subtract again. Oh, I forgot to write the 9. Write that right here. Okay. 25,416. Okay. More subtraction. Make this a 5. Turn that into a 10. Okay, so 10 minus 6 is 4, 5 minus 1 is 4, now I have 1 minus 4, so take from over here, turn that into a 7, turn that into an 11, 11 minus 4 is 7, and 7 minus 5 is 2. Ooh, okay, so now, this is less than this, so I know that this can't fit in any more times. This is how many times it fits in. So, my next step is to add up all of these numbers. So I'm going to do it over here. Nine, 6, 1. So I add all of these because I knew it went in 100 times, and I knew it went in 10 more times than that, and I knew it went in 50 more times than that, and 9 more times than that. So it went in all of these times, so that's why I have to add them all together, because I know that that number goes into that number 169 times. And then there's a little left over. But when we do decimals, we don't use a remainder. So we're not going to say 169 remainder 2,744. We're just going to use a decimal. So now I'm still going to try to ignore the decimal and remember that this number here is 480,000. Okay? And just like in lots of other math, we always want to line up our place value. It's really important to keep in mind the place value. It's very, very important. So, this right here, it doesn't have a decimal, it's just 169. So if I'm ignoring the decimal, my ones place is here, my tens place is here, and my hundreds place is here. So that number is going to line up that way. So ones place, tens place, hundreds place on this number right here. And now, since you just put the decimal there because you figured out where it goes earlier, but now it's part of your answer. So it's 0.169. So 0.169, last step, is to make an approximation and round to the nearest hundredth. So what I like to do is cover up most of it. Just keep the two numbers that decide what I round to. So I'm trying to round to the nearest hundredth, which is the 6. So I have to use the number next to it to figure out what it's going to become. So 69 is closer to 70 than it is to 60. So my answer is going to be 0.17. And that's it. Hurrah, smiley face star. Okay. You're welcome.